As a blogger specializing in horror films, I guess all fans enjoy gory scenes. Although the first installment already faces restricted viewership, still brings to everyone that if the previous installment focuses the virus on Samantha alone, this upgrades the personal horror to a crisis. The film's content is more disgusting than the previous installment. It includes many close-up shots. It is simply a blessing for gore enthusiasts. A friendly reminder. For timid viewers, it is recommended to tag someone to watch with them. The plot closely follows the first installment. After Samantha completely turns into a zombie, she pounces on her mother and eliminates her. However, she is also neutralized by a police shot. Subsequently, her body is sent to the morgue. Note the doctor who performs Samantha's autopsy. On his finger, there is a matching tattoo just like BJ's. This is a plot point. The scene shifts to the hospital. Dr. Riley's intimacy with Samantha. He discovers something is wrong and immediately runs to the hospital. He asks his brother-in-law, who is a doctor, to perform a blood test on him. After all, he is also afraid that in a moment of impulse, he contracted some disease, but Riley does not fully tell the truth. After the brother-in-law leaves, Riley takes off his shirt. These are scratches sustained during intimate contact with Samantha. Riley carefully uses tweezers to remove the fingernail fragments left on them. It must be said, it is somewhat disgusting. After completing the examination, Riley receives a summons. It turns out that after he discovers Alice's body in the bathroom, he immediately calls the police. However, unexpectedly, right after he makes the emergency call, facing Alice who lunges at him, Riley is forced to stop her. He still believes he has killed someone. When questioned by Crystal, he can only speak vaguely. He even explains that he and Samantha are just ordinary friends. He receives a call from her saying she is upset, so he rushes over to comfort her. However, upon arrival, he does not see Samantha, only discovers the body of her best friend, Alice. Crystal shows Riley a wanted poster, stating that the person named BJ is the real culprit behind the scenes. He is involved in multiple crimes. The man had recently escaped from prison, and Riley actually met him. On that night, he personally sees Samantha get into the man's car. Out of anger, Riley also writes down the car's license plate number. However, he does not tell Crystal the clue. The interrogation continues until night. EY walks out of the police station, planning to drive home, but finds a note on his windshield that warns him not to talk too much. Riley nervously looks around, hastily starts his car, and leaves, unaware that BJ is already watching him, dragging his tired body home. The day's events leave Riley feeling disoriented. Margie sees him looking worried, so she offers him a glass of wine. Riley takes a sip and chokes, coughing several times.
Don't be such a pussy. Don't put hair on your chest.
Points out that Margie directly picks up the unfinished wine and drinks it, which serves as a foreshadowing. After returning to his room, Riley calmly analyzes the situation. Since BJ is already watching him, he decided it is better to cooperate with the police and have him arrested sooner. Realizing this, he immediately calls Officer Crystal and provides the license plate number seen that day. The scene shifts to another part of the city. BJ targets a new victim while the woman picks up tips from the ground.
This is not $200.
He injects the virus into the woman. He takes her to his residence and then hangs her from a beam with an iron hook. A normal person would ask why he does this. But BJ is not a normal person. Instead, he is a pervert. This is the second day of Riley's infection. At this time, his body also shows some symptoms. After his morning run, he surprisingly feels cold all over. Something also seems to be wriggling on his back. He quickly takes off his shirt to check. Unexpectedly, the scratch wound not only does not heal, but when he presses it with his hand, pus appear. Riley is also a tough person. He directly pours disinfectant alcohol on the wound. The intense stinging is indescribable. It is clear that Riley is already infected with the zombie virus. Margie, who drank from the same glass as him, naturally cannot avoid it. Her body already shows abnormalities. And a blister appears at the corner of her mouth. Just then, the community volunteer Harper. She performs a routine checkup on Margie. However, after seeing the blisters, she only considers them to be common inflammation. In the room, Riley also receives a call from his doctor brother-in-law, who says his blood test report is already out, and all indicators show no abnormalities. Hearing this, Riley breathes a sigh of relief. But then, his brother-in-law tells him another piece of bad news. A colleague from the autopsy department tells him that the new virus Samantha contracted will definitely be transmitted sexually. He adds that fortunately, they're just ordinary friends. Hearing this, Riley instantly goes numb, and his heart instantly chills. Anxiously, he hangs up the phone and walks out of the room. Margie learns he plans to attend Samantha's memorial service that night, so she wants him to take Harper along. It is clear that Margie wants to set them up. From her expression, Harper also has a good impression of him. In the afternoon, Riley returns to the company and works as usual. His subordinate coworker suddenly comes to ask him for leave. Seeing the hot weather, the coworker is wrapped up tightly. Riley cannot help but ask a few more questions. Unexpectedly, the coworker's emotions start to become agitated. She keeps saying something is wriggling inside her body. She rolls up her sleeves and starts scratching with her hands. Her entire arm is scratched to the point of being deteriorated.
Ricky! Ricky! Oh, hell no. Ricky!
Afterward, Riley comes to the restroom to wash the blood from his hands. At this moment, he also seems to feel something moving inside his body. Soon, night falls. Harper and Riley attend Samantha's memorial service together. As mutual friends, the brother-in-law and pregnant Brenda also arrive. But the memorial service is only halfway through when Riley suddenly experiences tinnitus and auditory hallucinations. The severe headache forces him to cover his ears. However, this action not only fails to alleviate the pain, instead, he starts to bleed from his nose. A few drops also fall into the pumpkin soup on the table. This is an important foreshadowing. Riley endures the discomfort and goes to the restroom. He does not expect that just one sneeze makes the blood flow uncontrollably. The amount of bleeding suggests it has hit a major artery. Riley quickly takes out tissues to stop his nosebleed. Meanwhile, the memorial service outside also ends. A night of commotion makes Brenda extremely hungry. She picks up a potato chip, dips it into the bowl of bloody pumpkin soup, and eats it. She does not know he has already fallen victim. After dealing with the bloodstains, Riley and Harper find a bar to unwind. They know each other since childhood and are childhood sweethearts. However, Riley is always devoted to Samantha and does not realize Harper has long had a crush on him. They drink glass after glass. Fueled by the alcohol, Harper even gives him her first kiss. Little does she know this sweet moment will drag her into an endless abyss. When Harper goes to the restroom, Riley drinks another glass of wine. His vision suddenly becomes blurry. His body feels completely weak, and he falls directly into a man's arms. The man is none other than the wanted BJ. Meanwhile, Crystal finds BJ's hiding place by checking the license plate number. On the wall, it says he is the Lord of the Apocalypse. It seems BJ has already gone mad. He spreads the virus everywhere just to satisfy his twisted psychology. He is a typical revenge-seeking personality. Moreover, as Crystal searches, she finds more photos of victims on the wall. Among them are Riley and his employee coworker. Just as Crystal is looking at the photos, the female zombie hanging breaks free from the iron hook.
He's no dead man or I'll fucking shoot you.
To save her life, Crystal shoots her in the head. However, the zombie's blood also gets into her eyes. On the other side, BJ takes Riley to a corner. He proudly explains his actions. He first infects Samantha. Samantha then spreads the virus to Riley. BJ does not intend to kill Riley. His goal is to infect more people. Only this way can he satisfy his twisted and perverted mind. When Riley wakes up again, it is already the third day of infection. He does not know how he got home. At this point, his physical condition is even worse. Not only are his eyes bloodshot, But he also urinates blood and cannot stop it.
Oh, fuck. Oh, fuck.
This situation is exactly the same as Samantha's at that time. The hallucinations and severe headaches also become more frequent. He takes off his clothes to check his wounds and discovers that his body is covered in pus-filled boils of varying sizes. Inside, worms seem to be wriggling. Riley knows he cannot wait any longer. He puts on his clothes and prepares to go find his brother-in-law. The news in the living room is also reporting. CDC issues an urgent announcement, telling all citizens with red eyes to go to the hospital for isolation. Clearly, the virus has already begun to spread. After Riley says goodbye to Margie, he leaves the house. However, he does not know that Margie has already turned into a zombie. After all, elderly people's immunity is not that strong. Riley quickly arrives at his brother-in-law's house. Unexpectedly, he interrupts the couple's nap time. After his brother-in-law gets ready and walks out of the room, he is startled by Riley, who takes off his sunglasses. His brother-in-law originally wants to take him to isolation, but Riley still has other things to do. That is to find the mastermind, BJ. He might have the antidote. So, after he tells his brother-in-law to take good care of Brenda, Riley hastily leaves. The police also find BJ's self-talking audio tape from the new evidence. It is full of his criminal monologues. He indeed spreads the virus. E is very satisfied with his masterpiece, claiming that he wants to infect everyone and create a new war for the Lord of the Apocalypse. The scene shifts to Riley. While he is driving, he feels his teeth loosening. Unexpectedly, with a light touch, a tooth falls out. Afterward, various parts of his body begin to itch. Perceiving something, Riley rushes to a supermarket and buys a small knife and some alcohol. It is obvious what he plans to do. After preparing the items, Riley goes to the restroom. He first sterilizes the knife with a lighter. Then he chugs a mouthful of vodka. He wants to use the alcohol to perform surgery on himself. It must be said, Riley is truly a ruthless person. He first uses the small knife to cut open the festering skin. Then he constantly stirs inside with his fingers, forcibly digging out the wriggling thing in his arm. After dealing with his arm, next is his shoulder. He uses the same method and feels the same sensation, not even sparing his face. In the previous part, I thought Riley was a spineless simp. I apologizes to him here. He is not an ordinary simp. He is a simp with guts. After doing all this, Riley goes to the school and finds Harper. Seeing the other person's eyes bloodshot, Riley realizes he is also infected. She wants to pull him away with her. However, a young man comes out from inside. The young man has always secretly loved Harper. Seeing Riley seemingly forcing Harper, the young man cannot help but step forward, wanting to be a hero and save her. But Riley is not a pushover.
This is gonna get a little ugly. It's already ugly, bro. And why don't you mind your own fucking business?
Guys, stop!
Harper's sudden spitting of blood interrupts their argument. On the road, Riley also explains the whole story to Harper. It is exactly that kiss from yesterday that makes her infected with the virus too. Now the only hope is to find BJ, because he is also infected with the virus but shows no symptoms. This indicates that there might be an antidote. Meanwhile, Crystal also arrives at Riley's home. She calls for a long time but no one answers. She only smells the scent of decay in the air. After a search, she finally finds Riley's Margie in the bedroom. She sees the old woman standing quietly in place with her back to them.
What the fuck?
The male officer fires a few shots, but the old woman does not fall down. Finally, Crystal neutralizes her with one shot. He finally sends the old woman away. Meanwhile, at Harper's home, Harper considerately treats Riley's wounds. However, her own symptoms become increasingly severe. She thinks the discomfort is caused by her contact lenses. She just reaches out to take them out. But unexpectedly, she directly pulls out her eyeball. Riley, hearing the scream, also rushes over. Seeing this scene, he wishes he could immediately skin BJ. He packs up his things and knocks on Deuce's door. BJ usually drugs people before committing crimes. Only Deuce's family sells sedatives in the entire town. To avoid alerting the enemy, Riley pretends to be a customer. He wants to buy firearms there. After loading a gun, he pulls out BJ's wanted poster from his pocket. He threatens Deuce to reveal BJ's hiding place. Deuce also bears responsibility for all these events. It is precisely his invitation that leads BJ to attend that party. Unexpectedly, Deuce is very stubborn. Even though a gun is pointed at him, he still refuses to reveal BJ's whereabouts. Just as the two are at a standoff, Crystal arrives with a group of SWAT officers. Deuce is arrested on the spot. Riley and Harper are sent to the hospital. Although doctors try their best to save her, Harper still cannot hold on. She loses her heartbeat. Her body is then placed in the morgue freezer. Riley's condition remains stable, but then a doctor slowly approaches him. Upon closer inspection, it turns out to be BJ in disguise. Despite so many police officers outside, BJ shows no signs of nervousness. He has bombs strapped all over his body. He also carries a submachine gun. Clearly, he no longer wants to play cat and mouse. He plans to do something big, which is to destroy the entire hospital. At this moment, Officer Crystal also spots him. But seeing the bombs on BJ's body, Crystal dares not act rashly. However, as they face off, the accompanying police officer returns with coffee. BJ begins an indiscriminate shooting spree. Except for Officer Crystal, who gets shot in the leg. Everyone else is killed. Just as he prepares to kill Crystal completely, Riley makes his move. The two men wrestle with each other. Although Riley is no match for BJ, he has a disgusting attack method. He spits a mouthful of old blood onto BJ's face. BJ is disgusted. He fumbles and picks up a pistol. He immediately fires several shots at Riley. He believes victory is within his grasp, and BJ prepares to eliminate Crystal and celebrate. But who knew? He declares himself the Lord of the Apocalypse. Unexpectedly, Riley comes back to life once again. Having completely turned into a zombie, he directly eliminated BJ. Crystal also seizes the opportunity to pick up a pistol. She shoots Riley in the head. Does one think the movie ends like this? Of course not. The camera shifts to a room. Riley's pregnant Brenda has also contracted the virus. By this time, she has completely turned into a zombie. Strangely, her belly, only pregnant for 1 week, is swollen like a ball. Something inside struggles to break free. Does everyone think BJ is dead? Actually, he is not. A doctor saves him. This doctor is the one who treated Samantha in the first movie. One notices his fingers. He has the same tattoo as BJ. It turns out they were together from the start. No wonder he keeps delaying Samantha's treatment. The video ends here. I summarizes the film. The Mysterious Infection series is considered a very successful zombie film. It has no overly sentimental or melodramatic plotlines. From the first film's individual infection, it spreads to the second film's group crisis. It further reveals the deep conspiracy behind the virus. Finally, it can be seen that the doctor and BJ belong to the same organization. The virus is what they developed and spread. There are many foreshadowing elements in the film. This also indicates that the director actually plans to make a third film. Example: the young man who has a crush on Harper, and Riley's older sister Brenda and her husband as well as her unborn baby. This baby scene pays homage to Dawn of the Dead. Of course, there is also the scene where Brenda eats pumpkin soup, which reminds viewers of Braindead. In the year 2013, it was exactly when the American drama The Walking Dead was very popular. A zombie craze emerged in America. Director Eric also says in an interview that his goal is to create a mysterious universe. Judging from the content and plot of the two films, fans are still very much looking forward to it. But now more than 10 years have passed. The project has not made any progress and remains stalled. I find it very regrettable. In my opinion, if they can continue filming, this will definitely become a hit franchise. Okay, see you in the next episodes.